Behind the RedLine, Episode 80, The Chicago Strangler, Chicago, Illinois, 2001 to 2021. An ongoing pattern. Over 50 women. No closure. Some killers leave signatures. Others leave letters, nicknames, patterns that announce themselves. And then there are cases like this. No confirmed suspect, no arrest, no single face to blame, just bodies. Over the course of 2 decades, more than 50 women were murdered across Chicago. Most were Black, most were poor, almost all were sex workers. They were strangled. Their bodies were discarded, and their deaths were treated as unrelated again and again. This is what happens when a city refuses to connect its dead. This is the story known as the Chicago Strangler. Chicago in the early 2000s was a city reshaping itself. Downtown development surged. Policing strategies shifted toward visibility and containment. Marginalized neighborhoods were quietly deprioritized. Sex work did not disappear. It moved to alleys, vacant lots, abandoned buildings, and overlooked streets on the south and west sides. Police knew where these women worked. Outreach groups knew their names. Families knew their struggles. And yet, when they began dying, the deaths were labeled individually. Drug overdose, accidental death, domestic dispute, undetermined causes. Rarely, homicide with urgency. Between 2001 and the mid-2000s, women began appearing dead across Chicago. They were found in abandoned buildings, in alleys, in dumpsters, in vacant lots. Most had no visible signs of trauma at first glance. But autopsies told a different story. They were strangled. Manual strangulation, ligature strangulation. This matters because strangulation is intimate. It requires time. It requires proximity. It requires intent. These were not accidents. The victims shared patterns the system refused to prioritize. They were sex workers, drug users, unhoused or housing insecure, predominantly Black women. Many had prior police contact, not as victims, but as suspects. This shaped everything. When these women went missing, reports were delayed. When bodies were found, investigations stalled. When families asked questions, they were dismissed. These were women already living under surveillance, but not protection. And that distinction is deadly. By the late 2000s, advocates began noticing something police would not publicly acknowledge. Too many similarities, too many strangulations, too many discarded bodies. Community organizations raised alarms. Journalists started asking questions. Still, Chicago police maintained there was no confirmed serial killer. Instead, the deaths were treated as isolated incidents, drug-related violence, domestic situations. But numbers don't lie. More than 50 women over 20 years killed in similar ways, in overlapping areas. That is not coincidence. That is either a serial killer operating with impunity, or multiple killers enabled by the same neglect. Both are terrifying. Chicago Police Department publicly denied the existence of a serial killer for years. This denial had consequences. Without acknowledgement, no task force, no centralized data, no urgency. Cases remained siloed. Families remained isolated. Killers remained free. Only after national media attention intensified did officials concede the possibility of more than one offender. But by then, decades had passed. This is not unique to Chicago. Across the world, sex workers are disproportionately targeted by serial offenders. Why? Because their routines are predictable. Their disappearances are less likely to be reported immediately. Their deaths are more easily dismissed. Strangulation, in particular, reflects desire for dominance, personal control, dehumanization. This is not rage, it is entitlement. As of today, no one has been convicted for the majority of these murders. No single offender has been identified. Families still wait. Some cases remain unsolved. Others remain officially unconnected. The pattern persists, which raises the most chilling question of all. Did the killings ever stop? Or did attention simply fade? The Chicago Strangler may not be one person. It may be a system that decided some lives were disposable, some deaths were expected, some women were not worth urgency. Behind the Red Line exists to say their names mattered, even when institutions refused to, because the most dangerous killers are not always brilliant. Sometimes they're just patient, and patience thrives in silence.